Hi everybody, Beat Zimmerman here. This is my second Corona crisis update, in which I would like to give you some information about the schedule of courses and which courses are taking place at what time, etc. So today, April 20, we have the following plan. The first thing was the refresher and recurrent course that was held in March, at the beginning of March, in which we still had 8 people in the classroom and another 8 in the live stream. We have a new date for that course, which is November 9 to 13. If you have registered for this course, or if you have even paid for this course, this remains valid. So you can come in November. Should everything go wrong and we cannot hold it in November and you cannot join the live stream, your payment or your registration will stay valid, no worries. The same applies for the regulating IFP course, which was originally planned just a week after the recurrent refresher. We also moved that to November to be right after the recurrent refresher, because there are several people that wanted to book that back to back, and that can still be done. Your registrations, your payments will still be valid even beyond that date, should we not be in a position to run that as a classroom show. Then we have the SBAS and GBAS course that was scheduled in Canberra in Australia, March 16 to 20. This was a course where the instructor would be Robbie Bukovic. We have rescheduled that course to October 12 to 16. Same applies here. Your registrations remain valid unless you tell us something different. Your payments, if you made one, of course remain valid, no worries. Should we not be able to hold that course, we are happy to postpone it again, and your registrations and payments will remain valid. Then we had the helicopter pins course that was scheduled for the week after Easter, April 14 to 17. That one is postponed. We have not communicated any date. We will at some point figure out when we can hold that course, but we need to observe the situation a little bit and see if travel will be allowed and the borders are reopened, etc. So bear with me for another couple of weeks, then we probably know better if we can hold it. Eventually, we will hold that course as a live stream course. Live stream, by the way, people may say, not the same, not the same. Yes, it is not the same indeed, but I have to say, the experiences and the feedbacks are absolutely brilliant. We are currently streaming 2 different courses live. One is the SBAS Flight Procedure Design course that we stream this week every morning from 8 to 12. Also in the afternoon we stream the Flight Validation Pilot course for a closed group. And everybody is absolutely in agreement that this works perfectly. Here in this ANI training center we have a setup where we have multiple cameras, we have a 4K streaming capability, we record the sessions, we make the sessions available, so the quality of the instruction, I promise you, is absolutely not inferior to when you are personally in the class. Of course, what comes into the game when you're physically here is the interaction between the students, not only in the classroom, but of course also in the off time. But right now, we have no chance to do this, so we make the best out of it with the live streaming capabilities. And I can tell you, from a training aspect, let's say terminal objective aspect of the training course, live stream is by no means any weaker than the classroom experience. Right now we are streaming the SBAS live webinar this week. As it has already started, we cannot really accept any new participants in that. I'm sure eventually we will repeat this kind of course because it's a great thing to do, because typically the time that is required is about 2.5 days to cover it, and there's no point traveling to Interlaken for 2.5 days if you're coming from far away. Not that it's not a nice place, but the cost just for 2.5 days would just be outrageous. Then we have the AIS map that is delivered by Alex Pavlovich. That was originally scheduled April 20 to May 1st at the location in Belgrade. This one had to be postponed as well because you cannot enter Serbia at this time. We don't know when it will be possible again, so bear with us. We will communicate a date at some point as soon as we see a little bit better how all the countries in Europe start to open their borders. Then we have the Refresher Recurrent workshop that was scheduled in Pezinok April 28 to 30. That is also postponed with no dates communicated yet. Several people have registered for that. Several people have even paid for it. Same here. You're not losing anything. We will hold that course. We will give you the training you paid for. And as soon as we see when we can hold it, then we will communicate a date. Then we go into May. The PANS-OPS Basic Part 2 will be held as a live stream. We discussed that with the participants that were still here in the class for February, where the whole corona situation started to develop. We will actually complete that course through live stream. We also figured out a concept for the practical project to be completed remotely. So it should provide the same quality in the end, but we will go ahead with this course, because if we have to move that, it becomes difficult to maintain the remaining schedule. Parallel to the PANS-OPS Basic Part 2, we have the PBN Basics webinar that you can book in the first week of this PANS-OPS Basic, so that would be 4 to 8. That would be a refresher for you to refresh your PBN basics. What we cover there is the PBN concept, obviously, then PBN non-precision approaches, the RMP approach nav spec, PBN SIDs and holdings. In the third week of the PANS-OPS Basic course, which is May 18 to 22, we have the ILS refresher webinar, where we cover the ILS criteria together with a practical exercise on our famous Atlantis Sam Steiner International Airport, fictitious airport we have for training purposes. Same thing here, you can book that to refresh your ILS competencies. Then the Understanding the Cockpit Side course that is held at Frankfurt Airport, originally scheduled May 11 to 15. There's no way we can hold that. So all the registrations were moved to the December edition of this course, which is taking place December 7 to 11. So we moved all the existing registrations to that date. Of course, that is still open for further registrations. We will see later if the situation is such that we can actually hold the course or whether we have to postpone it any further. There is a new event which is called Introduction to IFP, which is a webinar which is also 2.5 days covering introduction to IFP, how does procedure design work, etc., etc. 2.5 days, but we distribute it to 5 afternoons that we stream live from the training center here. And this is a new course that you can book at the end of May. So May 25 to 29, this could be booked. It's a nice introduction, maybe also for maybe some management people who would like to know what is procedure design about. We stream that and the tuition fee is 900 euros for this. ARINC 424 with the one and only Jim Terpstra, scheduled May 22 to 29. We have to postpone. We have not communicated any date. We have not fixed any date. As Jim is coming in from the US, we have to also look at the situation over there. Will they be allowed to travel, etc. So again, in a couple of weeks, maybe we know more. Maybe we take a couple of months to know more. But here the same thing. Any registrations remain valid. We postpone the date. We will communicate in time. The IFPDAVA IFP Conference 4 that was scheduled in Amsterdam June 2 to 4 cannot be held, unfortunately. At the moment we postpone. We will still have to decide whether we actually cancel the 2020 event altogether and just make the IFP Conference 4 at the usual dates in late spring 2021. That's also an option. We will figure that out in a couple of months. Then we go into June, where we have an advanced PBN scheduled, which I do not believe we can actually hold as a classroom course at this stage. We will see, and even if I'm allowed to do it, maybe you're not allowed to travel, we will see. Fact of the matter is, I will offer that as a live stream. Same thing, it works well. This is a course that works well as a distant learning course. I promise if you want to get trained at advanced level, that means PARO-VNAV, SBAS, APV1, SBAS CAT1 procedures, RMP-AR procedures, advanced RMP procedures, that's the course to do. And if you want to do that in 2020, I think that is going to be the option, at least for what I can say for the moment. So we will offer that as a live stream instead of a classroom course. So if you think that's something for you, register for it. We will go ahead with it. IFP for managers, which is scheduled Interlaken June 22 to 26. Same thing, we will go ahead as a live stream if we get any bookings. And if there is no interest to join the live stream, then if we can, we will reschedule it later in the year. Also in June, we have the flight validation Recurrent, which is an event where we also include some of the off time as part of the training experience. We book lunches and we go to lunch together as a class to continue the exchange of information and to animate the discussion between the trained flight validation pilot. Also, on the first evening, we go for dinner as a whole class, and that's all included in the price. If we cannot do presence courses, we will do live stream. If we do live stream, we have to offer a different price because in the tuition fee we have included the prices for the meals as well. Beyond June, I'm afraid anything would be reading from the orb. I have no clue what's going on. We have to watch now what happens when those restrictions start to be relaxed. Maybe they can then be relaxed further and further and quicker. And then hopefully at some point travel will be allowed again. But there is also, of course, a worst case scenario where travel is not going to happen for another several months. So I cannot really make any educated guess at this point in time. I will just come back with a similar update in a couple of weeks when I know better. So long, keep in good mood, stay healthy, see you next time. Bye bye.